My hat! Alright, so here we go. You can tell my wife I just took off my ring because I'm going to work on this. That way I don't get in trouble again. But here is the truck. Now I keep doing things in different orders, and then I think about it. I was like, oh, I should have done this. I should have filmed that. But I did leave the truck before thoroughly cleaning it and taking it apart. As you saw, I dabbed WD-40 on everything to clean it up. So what I wanted to show you is even after a few days, if you submerge your vehicle in water, which I do not recommend, for me it was a complete accident. I was not expecting it. Usually a short course body just kind of hits, the body absorbs a good portion of the impact, but it doesn't roll that much. With the Baja Bug body, I mean, the truck just rolled like a basketball, bouncing. Well, it was rolling and bouncing. But you are going to have to go through and clean everything. But the main thing that I want to show you, if I can get this out, is that even if you leave the vehicle a few days without, now I don't remember how many days this has been, but I left it on purpose so that I could show you. After you dab everything, you wash it first with clean water. And then after you wash everything, I just hosed it down with clean water. I sprayed WD-40 on everything, and to be honest, a lot of parts look really nice after doing that. But if you look at many of these ferrous components, they are actually really nice. I'm going to have to cut another piece of, there we go, this is clean. They look pretty nice. The only thing I have to do is go in and clean some of that dirt that's inside, because that will make everything wear. But there is no major rust, and this is not quite a week, but it is a pretty long time. Usually you want to do this immediately, but again, I did this on purpose just to show you that adding a lubricant to everything, such as WD-40, which is what I used, will save your vehicle. And look, that's one of the pins in here. And it is rust-free. And I mean, I did not use it sparingly. I poured that WD-40 on this, as you saw. I mean, look at all that grime in there. But if you look inside, it looks good. If you look at here, the edge where the metal is exposed, there's no rust. And that's because WD-40 really works wonders with ferrous materials. Not just metals in general, but ferrous materials specifically, keeping them clean. The only thing with WD-40, just like any lubricant, if you were planning on painting over it, you have to clean everything thoroughly with a paint thinner, rubbing alcohol, just to get all of the oil off. But other than that, this looks great. And I'm going to set the pin here. Let me show you this part here. I mean, this looks wonderful. Look at that. See, if I had left this without any lubricant like that for a few days, this would have been covered in rust. It would have just been a mess. Everything would have been an amber color. The screws would have been that, well, rust color, that orange-red color. But they are not. The screws are actually looking pretty nice. The little screws there, the Droop Screws, those are looking pretty nice as well. So right now I'm taking this apart. I'm also going to take that center div. I'm just taking a few components. I do have to open everything up and clean it out. But I want to show you some of these main ones. So I want to take this particular bearing out. There we go. And I'm going to show it to you. The main thing is to just show you the condition that everything is in after being in the river for a few minutes. Because keep in mind the truck was in the river for a few minutes. As soon as it fell, I mean, my heart sank. Unfortunately, my wife didn't get it as it was bouncing and rolling and then landed in the river. But as that happened, I had to take, I was wearing my bag with supplies, to take that off, place my transmitter on the ground, take my hat off, and then go over to the truck. And then as I got to the edge of the river, I actually got to see just the side of the body above the water level. And then I saw it sink. The problem is there was quite a drop. It was, actually it's more than you can see here, between the little ledge and the water level. And I didn't know if it was really swampy. I mean, I was really close to just jumping and getting it. The only thing is, I didn't want to risk the river being really deep, and then next thing you know, I'm swimming and swallowing this murky water. So I pretty much cried inside as I saw just that one panel sink below the surface of the water. And then after that, I just ran to the car, got what I found, which was a shovel and jumper cables, brought them over, and then if you're watching this, you probably already saw the other video, fished out my truck, thank goodness. I mean, my wife, off camera, it's not in the video, but she was pretty much telling me to just jump in the water, to take my shoes off and trousers off and just jump and get my truck. And to be honest, it was kind of tempting. After poking and kind of getting a feel for the depth of the water, I was tempted to just call my brother to see if I could borrow his waders and just put them on and then go into the river. I did not have to do that, fortunately. He's actually not going to find out until he watches this video. Well, that I did that with my Tekno. Actually, nobody knows yet except for my wife and I. So this will be a surprise. Everybody found out by watching the video before this one. But look at these bearings. I mean, they are clean. They still turn. So I am going to just oil them, make sure they're well lubricated. But they are, fingers are too big, but they still roll. They feel smooth. See, if you can't hear anything in the camera, that's actually a good thing. But these are those there. So now, let me give you another example. What else can I do? Well, the shocks still feel good, although still maintenance, you want to take them out and remove the oil from them, which I will actually remove this one and show you on camera. So let me go ahead and just get my 5.5 nut driver and remove this one. And here we go. Alright, I'm going to remove it down here. And this one I will show you on camera. Now, if you have a Tekno, chances are you assembled it, so I'm not going to go through the entire disassembly process. I'm just showing you some of these main parts. Here we go. Alright, so I'm going to keep this one there, I'm going to keep that one there. Let's do this. Those are the shocks. This is this. So here it is. Here's the shock. Right. If you look at the shock body, just with the water and the WD-40, I mean that's dirt. You get this no matter what. If you're running out on the dirt, so you just kind of rub it off. It'll come off. So I need to clean this. If I just run a pick on there, it'll be fine. But these are pretty clean after washing it with just clean water and WD-40. And one of the things you probably cannot see, but a lot of the paint has worn off the spring here, right? These are supposed to be all black, and the paint has worn out. But notice it's not rust orange, and that was the goal. Like I said, this has been sitting a few days without me taking it apart and addressing every single component, again, on purpose. And I did this, one, because, well, I already knew it was going to work. But two, then I could show you in the video. And this is one of the things, too, that I like about Tekno, these little rubber components. So let me just take apart the shock over here. So let me remove this little rubber piece, and I'll move it this way. The whole truck will need maintenance, which is all right. And I do have a spare shocks in case I need them, but here, just cleaning the debris with that extra dirt. But I mean, look at that shaft. I mean, it's clean. These boots are very, very good at keeping it clean. And then, I mean, this whole thing, it's really nice, still very smooth. But I'm not going to work it too much. The reason why, actually I misplaced my container, so I'm going to just pour some of this here in this towel. And here goes. Now I'm going to re-oil all of the shocks so it doesn't matter. That looks clean. Let's see, if I had a container on hand, which I usually do, but I'm using my oil container to actually sauce up some tires and get them ready. So let's see where I can pour this. Give me one moment. Oh, here it is. Found it. I can use this other one, which is just like the other one. See, not too bad. I mean, this is the way oil generally looks after you've used it for a while, especially in dirt. So this isn't a big deal considering it was in the water. Now keep in mind that these shocks are not leaking, so this looks pretty good. So there's one. Right, not bad. I mean, when you do maintenance on a vehicle, this is what your oil is going to end up looking anyway. And keep in mind, I've been running this truck really hard, dirt, apparently in the river, in the mucky river. But there we go. So we have a shock, it looks great. Let's see, let me take the differential out. So we'll take the differential out, and the reason why is we have bearings in there. Now I'm going to have to service the inside of the differential as well, so it's going to be quite a bit of work. And you can still tell on the plastic, just the WD-40, how it, I guess you could say, hydrated the plastic, because everything looks this richer, dark color. Beautiful black color that the plastic has versus that dull gray that it gets after a while. But let's see, here we go. Oh, still have those two screws. From where I'm sitting looking at the truck, I could not see them. It wasn't until I tried removing those pieces that I remembered there's something else holding them down. It feels like I did this not too long ago. Oh wait, I did. So here we go. Now again, you should do maintenance on vehicles. And speaking about maintenance, sometimes these vehicles, they may not be running at peak performance, and sometimes you can buy them for a very affordable price, and the only thing they need is maintenance. Just whoever owned them before didn't know how to maintain the vehicle or did not want to spend the time to maintain the vehicle. So it's your game. Here we go. All right. Well, the shaft, I guess the shafts, this is aluminum, that is steel, but again, look how clean. And by clean, I mean rust-free, right? If you see like a black liquid, it's just a WD-40 with grime. But see, now that I cleaned it, it looks pretty clean. And the bearings, man, this is dirty. All right, I definitely have to take this apart. So the differential I have to take apart. In order to take the differential out, these 4 screws have to come out. This separates. Then I have to take the internal gears out. And there's a little pin. I move the pin, and then this releases. Then I can take the bearing out. So for right now, I'm just going to do just a surface clean so you can see what the surfaces look like. A little brush also helps here, just so you can see the metal parts. But if you look at the metal parts, see there's no rust. Look good. But as you can hear this, I definitely need to clean this because there is dirt between the bearing and this gear. So this will have to be opened and cleaned as well. And there's that little shaft. Let me remove this. Here we go. So imagine this vehicle submerged. When I mean a few minutes, I mean a few minutes. Because if you watch the video, it was longer than that. And by the time I ran over to the car, got the stuff out, came back, figured out, it was probably 3 times longer. And then, to be honest, I left the truck there just for the water to leak out, and I started bashing the other vehicle that I had. Because I took 2 trucks that day. So this truck was there for quite a while, and it wasn't until I finally got home that I washed it with clean water and then applied some more WD-40. But that's why I keep saying, just carry some WD-40 with you. It works. That doesn't sound bad at all. I'm still going to have to open this. But anyway, that's pretty much what the truck looks like. That's the differential. But yeah, I'm going to take everything apart. Well, almost everything. Just the bearings, metal parts, differentials. Alright, here we go. Let's do this. Alright, so this is for one of the shocks. I'll place this with the corresponding shocks. I'm going to remove all the shocks because the shocks, since I'm going to be installing them last, it doesn't matter if I do them now or later. Let me remove those. These components are for the servo and everything else. Right now I want all the shocks to go there. Alright, let's do that. Alright, so the shock has to come out. Now, rear springs are the same, but I'm still going to try to keep them separate from the front ones. And right now I'm just going to pour the oil out of the shocks. That is one thing I will be doing. Alright, there we go. And this actually goes here. Now I need this one. So this is something that you would do in normal maintenance, but you probably wouldn't be doing everything at once. You would probably service the shocks, the differentials, everything at different time. At some point, they would coincide, so you would be servicing them all at the same time. It's a possibility. I'm going to put the springs there. I actually have new springs. I could replace them, but I mean, these are still good, so why do it? I'm going to pull the boot down. As I mentioned, I actually do have a whole new set of shocks, but these are still good. So there's really no reason for me to replace them. And they look good, the bodies look good. I mean, everything. We'll need to rebuild them. So I'm going to dump this oil in there as well. All right. Oh, see how that looks? Looks very nice. And here we go. So I'm going to just dump the oil there. There we go. See, doesn't look bad. We're getting close to needing service anyway, so I guess I'm not too upset. All right, so shocks are off. That I can remove after. Right now I want to remove this screw here. Excuse me. All right, take this screw to keep it simple. We'll do that. All right, so that's that. I'm going to flip the truck over. Now that it's flipped over, I need to remove these four. There we go. But I mean, look at the screws. Still look very, very good. So WD-40 is your friend. If you look at the droop screws here, the heads, they still look good. And there is some wear on those because of where they touch the chassis, although they barely touch it because I have max droop. The only reason why I set them so they barely touch the chassis so that the arms with the tires, as it flies, they don't come down and hit hard on the shock. They actually hit the chassis. That's the reason why. It's to save the shocks. This chassis is still good. All right. So there are my 4 screws. Great. And there it is. All right, so let's put, well, before we do that, let me show you all the, just the dirt and sand that's in there from that river. We'll have to clean this out, but let me take this apart or else I'm going to spend way too much time on this. So I want to get to the differential. The differential is my concern right now. And actually, I need my 2mm. Just need to get the C block off. So for those of you that have wondered, what is an A block, B block, C block? It's just the blocks in order from front to rear. So the very first one's the A block, the second is the B. In this case, this truck has 2 blocks, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. So this would be the C and this would be the D block. Now on these Teknos, I do recommend that the A block you replace immediately with the aluminum block. And the reason why is that's I would say, the Achilles heel of Tekno. It's those A blocks. And it doesn't matter if it's the SCT410, SCT410.3, or even the MT410. Just replace those blocks. All right, so we have that. Let me just remove these pins, hinge pins. And there they are. That's one of the hinge pins. And let's remove the other one. There we go. Now, something you can do too, if you want to polish these, you can use cotton and then just polish them. If you have mylar paper, similar to what balloons are made out of, you can use that. That's actually pretty abrasive, and you can get a really nice polish with that type of paper if you have it. If you don't have that type of paper, then leather works. Leather's great for polishing. All right, let's see. So here now, well, we'll remove everything. Let's do it. Why not? We're already here. So I'm going to remove the rear bumper, move these forward a bit. That way it gives me a little more room to work with this. I'm going to start another pile of screws over here. It's better, to be honest, to grab cardboard, label it, and then just punch through the cardboard and put the screws there. I mean, you can even draw a picture of the section that you're working on and then punch the screws through. That works. Or get just a box, for example, a parts bin, something, label everything. That always works. Let's see. And you know where everything is. Something else that also works is if you have the manual, just take all the parts that go in that section of the build manual and then leave them there. So then later on you can just use the manual as reference. So that's something else that you can do. For me here, I'm just going to wing it. So do as I say, not as I do. There we go. All right, so that's one of them. Here goes the other one. All right, and there's that block. So this is the D block, which is the last block. There we go. So that screw went there, this one went here. All right. Let's see, I could remove the arms fully, but I don't really need to. All right, still the bumper. 2.5. All right, so we have these two more screws to go in here. And one of the things, I'm not sure if you can really notice in the camera, but the point is none of these screws are rusty, which is what you want. You want to have nice, clean screws. You don't want rusted screws. If they are completely just rusty, you really want to replace them. Or just dab them with a bunch of WD-40. There are some other lubricants that you could use. I just happen to buy the multi-packs of WD-40 whenever I buy them, but Liquid Wrench is another similar product. There's a few others out there. I don't know, let me know what product you use. Do you use WD-40, Liquid Wrench, something else? You know, what are the general sizes or volumes? Like I said, WD-40 that I bought, I think it was 3 cans in a pack. Don't remember if I bought them at Costco, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. Now, there's the regular WD-40, but there's also silicone base, which I really like the silicone base for anything that has to do with weather stripping. It's a lot better. Alright, see, sway bar is clean. Sway bar actually moves freely, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's see, I need to remove these two screws. No, these two screws, and then I'll have the most of this. You don't have to disassemble the entire truck, to be honest. You just want to get to anything that has ball bearings. That's it. That's all you want to do. Here we go, and then I'll just remove the sway bar from the back, and the differential will be free, and I'll just have, I believe, 2 more screws, and then I can crack open the differential. And one of the reasons why you want to open the differential is you could get a bunch of just water and grime inside of the housing. There we go. Let me just remove these over here. This is just to free up the sway bar. Alright, so sway bar, screw will go there. Here goes the other one. I mean, one of the things that I really like, to be honest, is the support that I had. When I mean the support, I mean my wife telling me to just jump in the river and get my truck out. She's the one that could have, if anybody could have probably convinced me to just leave it, it would have been my wife, but nope, she kept insisting. And I would have left it there until I could have gotten those waders. Like I said, luckily I didn't need them. I was able to fish it out. One of the things that I was trying is there were a few little weak sticks near that area, so I was grabbing them and I was trying to poke the floor just to feel if I could feel the truck. And I did hit something hard, and I thought it was a stone, but it turned out to be the truck. I was actually hitting the chassis of the truck, because the truck, as it sank, when I saw it, it was sideways. But I guess when it finally sank, it felt chassis up, which I'm still wondering how that happened. Alright, so now I'm going to use this little area over here. I'm all over the place. Yeah, don't do it this way. Especially if it's the first time you take it apart. Because you build it, and sure, you're building it, but you're not, I mean, you are paying attention to building it, but you're not really paying attention to, well, you're not trying to remember where everything goes. You're worried about putting things where they belong. So usually you build it, and then you take it apart, although if you built it, it's usually a lot easier if you're trying to figure it out to actually figure it out. All right, here goes. Moment of truth. I open it this way. I'll open it this way. Ta-da! Huh. There's a little bit. Yeah. It's a little clean. Well, no, can't feel anything there. So I guess the grease saved it. Right now I'm just trying to wipe all the grease out. I'm going to re-grease everything, but I'm trying to wipe off the grease and see if, no, I don't see any dirt. It just looks like grease. Over here there's, yeah, I think there's some over here. Well, I'm going to open it up anyway. This pushes out. Even if it's something really, really minor or really small bit of dirt, you should still maintain it and clean it just for the longevity of the vehicle. But I mean, that looks really good. But, you know, I heard something, so I figured I'd just remove it and clean it. Why not? The one thing I am going to mention, though, is once you start doing this, you kind of go down a rabbit hole. And you think, all right, I'm just going to clean this a little bit. Next thing you know, well, you know, I'm already here. Let me disassemble this other small little part. And then you go into the next small little part, and then the next. Next thing you know, pretty much disassembled the entire thing. Which is what's happening here. All right. Put that shim, oops. Put that shim there. There we go. Good. I'm just hoping I don't ruin the towel. But if I ruin the towel, I'm not too worried about getting in trouble because, after all, it is the one my wife handed to me. So, yeah. I'll just have to go to Costco and buy some new towels for her. Be her birthday gift. That way I can use it too. Hopefully when she sees this video, she'll laugh. There we go. All right. How does it feel? Feels great. Oh, this is awesome. All right. Still going to grab the bearings, fill them with oil, but this was, well, covered in grease. Here we go. Let's see. I guess that's the nice thing about sealed differentials. All right, you know what? I'm gonna have to do this off camera. So let me go ahead and do this off camera, and then I can go ahead and just grab some oil for the bearings too. Okay, so let me just do that. Dump the bearings in there. And, well, let me not mix them up, but I guess I could put those there. Yeah, so some black grease. Now, the one thing I didn't really figure out, and I didn't want to find out, to be honest, was if my wife was telling me to just get the truck, whether I had to take my shoes off and everything, and just, you know, fetch it out of the river, because she knew that I would be very, very sad if I lost this truck in that river and didn't recover it, or if it was her way of telling me, you better get it out of there because you're not getting another one. Not sure. Not planning on finding out. I think it's the latter, but I'm going to go with the first one because that's the one that makes me feel better. All right, so this is good. Now, oh, there's the black grease. All right. Oh, I can't apply this yet. I need this. I need the bearings. All right. And yeah, I'm trying to use a cleaner rag here. I'm wiping the bearings. All right, so one just drops in, the other one just drops in, and now, there we go. Now I get to have fun looking for this. Oh. Haha. Shim. And here it is. I need to line this up with the set screw. And I get to tighten it. Now don't tighten it too much or else you'll stress the bearings. I was just holding it. There we go. As in, don't press these in. Yay. Alright, there we go. Now we can get this started. Alright, just apply grease. And this is just regular black grease. Don't need too much. All right, so if you forget which way the differential goes, because the differential can go this way and it can go this way, right? There it goes, and here it goes. Just look at the front one and see which way it spins. So if you look at, you can grab the manual as well. So if I grab this and I spin this forward, I see that the shaft is spinning right. So that means that this one has to spin this way and it has to go forward. So this is the correct position right here. And that is it. I mean, that's really all you have to do if you forget. So not a big deal. That is just the way it works. Right, perfect. So now we get to seal this. All right, great. Let's see, so sway bar. So that goes in here. One important thing, if you are planning on building a kit and you haven't already, a lot of these screws you do not want to over tighten. So this little plastic here, if you over tighten this, you will sort of collapse the plastic and then it'll apply more pressure to the sway bar and the sway bar will not move freely. Now remember, you need the sway bar to move freely because the sway bar acts as a spring between both arms. There we go. All right, perfect. So now, you know, I should have installed these first. And I'm sure many of you in the video are probably thinking, why didn't you install those? I don't know. Good question. Good question. Right, here we go. The other one. still need to take care of this side, but I will. Do I want to assemble everything? I guess as long as I don't assemble the arm, I'll be fine. All right. Let's just place the screws here. So as long as I don't put the pins in, it'll work. Now something else, let's just say you were going to polish these, you could just dump them in oil until you're ready to install them. I mean, it's metal, it's not going to swell. It's not a piece of timber, for example, where if you would leave it in oil, it would swell. A piece of balsa wood, for example. But here we go. It's set. Now, one of the things I do like about these Tekno trucks is, I mean, they are heavy. So for some people, that's a negative. As I've mentioned in a few other videos, they are about 3 kilos once they are fully assembled, body, tires, everything, which is heavy. But most of the weight is pretty down low. So many times when you do roll the truck, it tends to land back on its wheels. It's mainly because of that weight. So right now, just applying grease here. I'm going to apply grease to this little drum. Slide it in. And let's see, now I have to spin it. There we go. That feels good. And there's grease in there. Perfect. Now I just need to line up these 2 holes and stick the pin in there. And there it is. Good. And everything's greased up. Perfect. All right. So this side is set. Let's see what else. All right. So this side is actually ready to go. Might as well do this side. That way I do them both. Do the same thing on both sides. Right, so then that is there. It's 2.5. And the plastic is worn out. I'm going to have to use the pliers. Let's see, use these here. That way I can, there we go. I don't actually have to remove them since the arm is over here. I just found it easier because of the camera. That's the reason why. Right, so that's there. Now I have to remove this one here. One of the things that I do like about the hexes for Tekno is that they have an oppressor screw. So this little oppressor screw, little set screw, holds the hex in there so it doesn't fall out. And what I like about them is there is actually a little hole. Well, yeah, there's a hole and they just go straight versus the clamping ones, because the clamping ones, if it's clamping, it's going to slightly lose its shape versus these will not lose their shape. That's what I like about them. I'm not saying it's Tekno's the only company that makes them that way. Not at all. Just saying that is a design that I like. All right, here we go. So this one we're going to do the exact same as we did with this one over here. I'm just going to pop that pin out. There it is. And I will remove that. I will dump that little barrel out, and I'm just going to clean these little pieces. And that is it. I'll place it there just so it's in better view of the camera. There's that. I'm going to clean this. Now, if you had a bent shaft, this would be the time to remove it, if you had one. Man, I don't even have to clean that. That's pretty clean. Well, it's out of focus. All right. I just need to, this is pretty clean too. WD-40 really cleaned it. Great. So now you do the same thing. So just as if you were assembling this new, I'm just going to apply just a little bit of grease there. Apply some grease here. And then I will put this inside. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to grab this, and again, I have to line them up. So for those of you that are maybe considering a Tekno or any kit, just buying a kit, hopefully just watching this, you will see that it's not that difficult. Really, it's just time. It's just a matter of time. So if you have just time and patience, this is fabulous. Now, right here, there's grease in there. That's the only reason I was spinning it. So you want to make sure all this stuff is greased up. I did not take the bearings out. I should have taken the bearings out earlier. And I'm just pushing on them with my driver. And you want to push on the metal parts. Don't push on the rubber if you can avoid, because that's the seal. So these are sealed bearings. Here we go. And as I'm cleaning them, I'm actually spinning the center to get an idea of how it feels. So it's fine. Just dump it in there. Now, you may want to consider replacing your bearings at this point as well. Or you can wait. I mean, bearings can fail. There we go. And I guess might as well. That's where I need a child to help me out. They have smaller fingers. They could really clean this. There we go. All right, perfect. Oh, this would be pretty perfect if I didn't have to do this. And then the electronics, we'll see how the electronics do. The electronics are still sitting in rice. I will show you that later. Maybe in this video, maybe in another one. We will see. All right, these bearings are ready. Good. It just press in. Now this goes in. Great. And it's the bearing that holds that pin. I need to make sure that pin came out slightly. That's why it's not going all the way in. It's easier if I just remove it. There we go. There we go. Now I can just grab this little pin here, light it, and install this. And here we go. So I'm going to be doing the rear end in the video, and then the front I'll just do off camera. But this is pretty much what you have to do, which is, many of you would say, well, that's regular maintenance, and you would be right, except for I was forced to do it a little earlier than I was planning on doing it. And it's a little more complicated because you have to make sure there's more. You have to be a little more meticulous because of the water that was involved. Versus just plain dirt generally gets caught from the oil sitting outside, so it's, I think it's easier to clean. Alright. That I will just sit there. So now all I have to do is, well, here it is, but bearings. Yeah, that's fine. That's more than enough. Alright. There we go. Feels good. Feels good as well. I'm just hoping the electronics will hold, and then I can try it out, hopefully with that same body. But I'm not going to go to the same place. I'm not risking it. I'm going to consider that one a warning. So don't do it again. You can lose an RC here. Just going to ask my friend if I can borrow his ramp, or maybe I'll build one. This is pretty nice though. Alright, here we go. And there. I have to use the pliers soon, maybe. All right. Good stuff. There. And there we go. So we have our C block, D block, and it doesn't matter how we start. The important thing is to have the screws in the right place. This might be easier for the camera. And here we go. So that goes there. And I have to take these pins out. Now this is just oil, it's clean oil. I'm not worried about it being toxic or anything. Actually cleaning it. There we go. If you have a pipe cleaner, this would be the time to use it. But you know what, it's not bad. This one feels a little different, but it'll be fine. that should be fine. I mean, you can also use a little pipe cleaner, run it through there. You could run your, no, don't do the reamer. Just a pipe cleaner, just something to kind of go back and forth. This is fine. All right, let's see. All right, we'll line them up. Can't really see. If I move this to where I can see properly, then it probably won't get on the camera very well. So I'm doing this half blind in a way. Let's see, here we go. So now I'm installing my D block. There we go. All right, let's do the front first. So we'll do the front part of the rear end. So C block goes in first. Let's do this one first. And these you do not want to over tighten. If you over tighten these, what will end up happening is that you will put too much stress on the arms because your blocks will be actually pinching your arms. And that's it. I like doing that. All right, now for these other ones. So we're actually almost finished with the rear part of this build. Or, well, cleaning, I guess I should say. But again, it just takes time and patience. You're looking at, if you think about it, you're disassembling a good amount of what you assembled when you were building the kit. So expect something like this to take, a few hours, 2-3 hours. Let's say closer to 3 with the right tools. Assuming you don't have to replace too many parts or look for too many things. All right, there it is. Now we need to affix the rear bumper. Oh, great. Good job, guys. Nobody told me. These, I'm going to put the rear bumper on first. Good job there. Now I have to remove them. See, this is what happens when you work late. You can do this in the morning or midday. Do this close to midnight, and this is what happens. Just find this faster, so as I'm doing this, well, some of you already do this. You spin the other side the opposite way, and then you let the screwdriver slip in your hand. So as it's here, I'm holding, twisting the driver and the component this way, and then the driver slips in my hand, and you just keep doing it. Sort of like a ratcheting effect. And if it's not faster, makes me believe it's faster. Sometimes that's good enough. All right, we're almost there. Something seems a little off. What could it be? Well, one thing I didn't do is finish assembling this side. Right. Let me place this here. I'll place that there. All right. Let's see. What's going on? Was I not supposed to? I was not supposed to do those. Well, let's do this. Let's drop the pin. Oh, I know what I did. All right, well, let's do that. So, like I said, if you make mistakes, you'll be able to figure it out quickly when you do the build. And what I did just now is I actually installed 2 screws here, but that's where the bumper goes. So I have to remove those 2, which I will if I can, yep, I can easily get to them. And then this is where the bumper attaches. It's not a big deal. I actually use screws. Belong to a different place. Again, do not do this in the middle of the night when you're tired. And it's not the middle of the night, I'm exaggerating, but it is later in the day. And I am kind of tired. But not tired of RC fun. Wait a minute. Oh, I see what I did. Right, so these 2 screws that I used on the shock tower, they do go on the shock tower, they just didn't go in those holes. So placed them there. Well, there you go. They go down here. But they do hold the shock tower to the differential case. Here we go. Do it here. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes what will make the process longer, to be honest, is small little mistakes like this, because then you've already put a screw in, now you have to take it out and then put it back in the correct spot. So if you think about it, I mean, that's almost the same. So making a mistake with 1 screw is almost the same amount of time as doing 3 screws the right way. So just be patient, be careful. Take your time. So if I go through here or here, I'm going to say here. There is that. Let's start the next one. All right. I'm almost there. All right. So again, WD-40 does work wonders. I do recommend it. As you saw, I tore this, well, I took it apart and then I showed you the pieces, the bearings. This is less than a week, it's just a few days. But the pieces, right, there was no rust. There was no rust that was there before. And the WD-40 actually makes the plastic look new. Well, maybe not new, but it gives it that color similar to when it was new. I mean, it's not going to take away all the scuff marks. But it's definitely something worth doing, especially if you cannot get to it right away. So that's something to consider if you're on a time crunch or you have some other things to do. Now at this point, what I have to do is I need to open up the front, do the same thing, shocks, just rebuild them. You saw the oil. There was nothing in there. Well, I mean, there was oil in there. There's just not. Sorry, this is the correct one. It's just the normal oil once it starts breaking down. So there was no water or anything in there. The shafts are fine. I just have to start cleaning this and then start attaching things, and that is it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. And you see, WD-40 works when you accidentally dump your truck, submerge it into whatever body of water it is. Luckily, it was a river, so it wasn't salt water. It's not like it was the ocean. Maybe in the ocean, it would have been a different story. So keep that in mind as well.